All right, greetings of the day class. Let's begin with today's topic. But before going to the topic, you know very well, we have started our third chapter, that is chapter number 3, in which the main topic, the main center of attraction is our atom as well as molecule. Okay, so in the very previous class, we have just started our lecture with the introduction of this topic, as well as we have just done the laws of the two different laws that were known to be law of conservation of mass and law of definite proportions. So these two terms we have already stood very well in the topic. Now let's begin with our fresh new topic, that is what actually atom is and how do scientists try to symbolize the atoms. Okay, so let's begin with our today's topic, what is atom. All right, student, in the previous class I have given you a little bit introduction that atoms are something which are not divisible. In fact, Dalton has given us atomic theory known to be Dalton's atomic theory. And what Dalton has told us, he has told are the smallest part of a matter. According to them, it is the smallest part of a matter and it cannot be divided further. Okay, so this was all which was defined by atoms. And the point here is, since they were used to be not divisible, or we can say they were the basic form of a matter, Dalton also told us about the atomic size. So he just explained us that yes, atoms are the smallest form of matter, but they are super small. They are so small that they cannot be seen by naked eyes. I'm repeating it again, that atoms are so small that they can only be seen with the help of many kind of magnificent machines. I'll just tell you something about atomic size. See, I have told you that they are so small that we cannot see them with the help of naked eyes, the first point. And the second point, I have told you that atoms are super small that only with the help of some magnificent machines we can go through them. We can see them in a elaborated manner. But the point here arises, what actually defines the atomic size, or we can say how can we define the atomic radius. See class, you know very well that there are many units to determine the radius or to determine the length, like 1 meter, 1 kilometer, 1 hectometer, and so on. But atoms, they are so small that it is equal to 1 divided by 10 raised to power 9 meter. That means 1 divided by 10 raised to power 9 meter, that is actual size of atom. In short, you have must do this in your maths class, 10 raised to power minus 9 meter. So they are even small, they are so small from a millimeter, a centimeter, they are known to be with the size of 1 nanometer. The point here is the atoms are small and their size is almost negligible. We just can't go through them, we just cannot see them. For example, they have the size of almost 1 nanometer, that is 1 divided by 10 raised to power 9 meter. Okay, for example, I have this marker. Now this marker contains millions of atoms and this matter is made up of 1 million of atoms approximately. I'm just giving an idea, I'm not very sure about it. So you can see, you can get a concept that how atoms are small in size. Okay, so this was my first point. Now the second point is, as we have studied about atoms, like they are so small, their size is super negligible. So the point here arises, if they're so small, why should we care about them? Why should we go too deep down them to check out what are the other parts of atom and what atoms make up? So the answer is, everything in this universe is made. Talking about my hand, this hand seems to be solid to you, hand seems to be stationary to you, but whenever I see through a strong magnificent microscope is a machine that just magnify the small things, that elaborates the small things in a big manner so that we can see it very well. Okay, so if I'm talking about my hand, It seems to be very still, it seems to be very stationary, but in actual, it is made up of moving energy. Okay, and this energy comes from the atoms. In short, I can say my hand is made up of atoms. Not only my hand, this marker, this board, the camera from which I am talking to you, everything in this universe is made up of atoms. Okay, so our next point is atoms and their elaboration. First, we are going to discuss what are the different elements that we use in our chemistry language. Like you have heard about hydrogen, you have heard about oxygen, carbon. Most of the organic compound, or I would say most of the living things like me, like you, like plants, they are made up of carbon. Okay, and other things are made up of, like if I'm talking about metal like a silver, copper, gold, they are also atoms. Okay, so our next point is what are the symbols of atoms and how different atoms are present in our chemistry language. Okay, let's start. The next point is the atom and their symbols. See, the topic we are going to study, what is atom, what are its symbols, these are the very basic concept. It is a kind of base of chemistry for your higher classes. Whenever you would go to 10th class, this topic is the main basis. Like we are going to study what are atoms, how would they aggregate, what are the subatomic particles, मतलब atom किस चीज से मिलके बना है. These all are very basic form, and you will see them in 10th class, as well as if you need to take chemistry, if you want to take chemistry in 11th and 12th class also. Okay, so I just want to say you, please focus on this particular topic. This seems to be very easy, but this is very important. Okay, so let's begin with the atomic symbols. All right, as you know very well, scientists were there to check out the symbols, and many scientists tried to give the symbol of atom. Like if every person has a specific name, same as it is, every atom with a particular property must have a specific symbol, must have a specific name. So they tried, for example, they tried to give hydrogen a specific symbol in this form. Another, for example, carbon, they specified in this form. I'm taking example of gold. They specify it with this form. Carbon, sorry, carbon I have just done. Copper, it's kind of this form. So they just try to symbolize in their own way. But what actually happened after some time, when we come to across about many atoms, I have told you, bache, in many classes that our universe is so much to explore. There are so many present over there. Each day we are discovering a new atom. Each day we are getting some new information. So in this very same manner, this is the time I was talking about 1800, 1900. So we came to know about only a few atoms. So we had symbolized them according to us. But the point here is, as we come to know more and more atoms, we face some difficulty. Like I have symbolized gold with G, but we also have gallium. So how would we symbolize gallium? We have symbolized copper with C, but what about carbon? What about cobalt? They all started with C. So what happened? The scientists faced very difficulty, and with the help of, we can say, agreement of all the scientists, there was an organization known to be IUPAC organization. That is International Union for Pure and Applied Chemistry. There was an organization which took the value, which took the responsibility to symbolize all the elements on the basis of their name. Okay, so this is how in our modern day, in our current date, we symbolize our atom. Okay, let's see how we symbolize right now. For example, hydrogen. We symbolize it by H. For example, aluminium, we symbolize it with Al. That is first two letters of that word. But please keep that in your mind, that the first word is always capital, whereas the second one is small. Okay, same as it is if I'm going to talk about copper. Okay, let's talk about cobalt. This is CO. If I'm talking about copper, this is Cu. Now the question here again arises, cobalt is also made up of CO, copper is also made of Cu. Now what to do? So to solve this query, they did that we name the element from their Latin name or their Greek name. These are the languages which told us, for example, copper is actually known to be cuprous. So it is named as Cu. If I'm talking about iron, it is known to be Fe, that is ferrum. Okay, but the point here is there are so many atoms and each have its different symbol and each has its own properties, so we have to remember all the symbols. Okay, so I'm just going to write some important atomic symbols to you, and the point here is you just need to go through it in one go, just that I have to remember all the atomic symbol in one time. Okay, with the practice, with the time, you will come to know about some important symbols that are crucial for you right now. Okay, so I'm just going to explain some atomic symbols. For example, hydrogen, carbon, as I have already told you. Hydrogen, carbon, sodium, that is denoted as N, that is denoted as K, and oxygen with O, chlorine with Cl, and nitrogen with N, and many more. These are a few atomic symbols which are very important and you must have remembered them. Okay, so this was the topic. I wanted to explain what are atoms and how do we symbolize them nowadays. How can we denote their name with the help of some symbols? Okay, so this was a very short and sweet topic. Now let's move to our main topic, that is atomic size. Oh, sorry, atomic size I have already explained. Atomic mass. Okay, so let's move to the next topic, atomic mass. All right. As the name suggests about atomic mass, it seems to be, very simple term that mass of any atom is atomic mass. Okay, it seems to be very simple. So I can easily say mass of any atom is known to be atomic mass. As you know very well, to define any kind of variable, we need a constant unit. For example, for kilometer, we show it by km, meter, hectometer, that is for distance, or kg, gram, centigram, sorry, for mass, and many more. Okay, but these atoms are so small and they have so small size, so their mass could be very low, very first point. And the second point is to define them, to symbolize them, we have given them a particular unit known to be atomic mass unit, which is denoted by A and U. Okay. Now, how can we define atomic mass unit? See, Bache, the problem with atomic size is the atoms are very small that it is very difficult for us to exactly weigh it, to exactly give its particular mass. So to solve this problem, what we have done, we have given a standard. For example, I can take you to the kilogram. You know about the kilogram standard. We need iron, platinum, the particular black matter, with the help of which we say this is 1 kilogram. And I'm saying that the distance from this to this is known to be 1 kilometer. Okay, I just want to say that we have all standard that suppose this is 1 kilometer or this weight is equal to 1 kg. In the very same way, for defining atomic mass, we have a particular standard. So our atomic mass is a comparable term, or we can say it is a relative term. Okay, so if I would define the atomic mass unit, I would say it is equal to the exactly 1/12 of the mass of carbon atom. I'm saying one atomic mass unit is defined as the mass exactly equal to 1/12, that is 1/12 of mass of a carbon atom. Now, what this definition wants to convey us? See, as I have told you, we need a standard, we need a particular point to explain any kind of variable. Same as it is for defining the atomic mass, for explaining the atomic mass unit, we need a particular standard, and that is our carbon. So all the atoms have their atomic mass comparable to carbon mass. Let me explain. For example, if I'm talking about hydrogen, it has only one, its atomic mass, which is denoted in the form of atomic mass unit, or simply we can say U, 1. So carbon is 12, oxygen is 16. These are the atomic mass of these particular atoms. So the point here is, from these two statements, I want to convey that carbon is 12 times higher than hydrogen. Or I would like to say hydrogen is 12 times weaker, 12 times slower. Either it is hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and we are comparing their mass with the mass of carbon. And we know very well the mass of carbon is 12. The atomic mass of carbon is 12. So if I want to define one atomic mass of carbon atom, I have just written that is equals to 1/12 into 12 equals to 1. This is going to be one atomic mass. Okay, so it seems nothing, but the point here arises that from all elements, we have so many elements, we have chosen carbon as the standard. We have chosen carbon as the fixed parameter to standardize the atomic mass of different atoms. Okay, I hope I'm clear about this topic. Same as it is, if I want to tell about the oxygen, I would like to say that oxygen is 4/3 times higher than carbon. Okay, same as it is, we can go with nitrogen, phosphorus, and many more. All right, so this is the way which defines us what do you mean by atomic mass unit, atomic mass, and what is known to be atomic mass unit. Okay, now let's go through with some your in-text questions, and then we would study with our higher topic. All right, I have the first question in my NCERT textbook. Define the atomic mass unit, and we have one atomic mass is defined as mass exactly equal to 1/12 of the mass of carbon atom. Okay, or we can define it, or sorry, we can denote it in the form of AMU or U. All right, now let's move with the second question. The second question says to us, why is it not possible to see an atom with naked eyes? And we have already explained its answer. The atoms are super small, their size is in the form of nanometer, so we cannot see them with the naked eyes because they're very small, and our human eye do not have so much stronger capability that they can see such a small thing. Okay, so that was it about atom, atomic size, and atomic mass. Now let's move to our next topic, that is molecules. Okay, now let's see what are molecules. See, Vijay, as I have shown you that atoms are known to be the smallest particle. We can say atoms are known to be the smallest form of a metal. But what actually happening? Atoms cannot exist for a longer time, we can say, in the form of independence. That means I would like to say hydrogen, we would say nitrogen, they cannot exist only in form of a single atom because they are so much reactive that they would get easily attached with another atom. Okay, So atoms just want to aggregate with each other. They just make a group of themselves, and then they make molecules. So I would like to say that molecules are made up of atoms or by grouping of atoms. All right. So I would like to define molecules are made up by grouping of elements, or I would say aggregation of elements. Sorry, not elements, atoms. And the best point is, as atoms make molecules in the very same way, molecules can make compounds. For example, if I'm talking about water, here we are getting 2 hydrogen, which is a molecule of hydrogen. Okay, so I also want to say that molecule has some definite property. The first property is molecules have their independent existence. That means they can be easily exist, not like atom cannot exist singly, like in many. Same as it is, molecules have all the properties of atoms. O2 contains 2 oxygen, and molecule of oxygen has all the property of oxygen. Okay, and lastly, it can make compounds on combining with same molecule or another molecule would make compounds. Okay, so this was all about molecules. Now let's see some more examples, and then we would see your doubts query section. All right, let's take example of the different types of molecules. Molecules and their types. First of all, I would like to say, if I'm talking about atomicity. See, Bache, I have just explained to you that atoms on combining make a molecule. But the point here is in which form atoms combine to each other. Or I would like to say in which quantity atoms combine and they make a molecule. For example, if I'm talking about O2, this is known to be oxygen. But if 3 atoms of oxygen combine, it would make O3, that is not oxygen, that is ozone. All right. So on the basis of how many number of atoms combine to each other, they would make a new molecule, and that molecule has its independent existence as well as its independent property also. For example, oxygen has somewhat different property, whereas ozone has somewhat different property. You know ozone very well. Ozone is something which covers our earth from the harmful UV rays of sun, whereas oxygen is something which we use to breathe, which is a living essential thing for us. Okay, so on the basis of this term, that how many atoms are combined with each other, we would get to make a new molecule. Okay, so the atomicity is defined as the number of atoms combined to make a molecule. Okay, now on the basis of atomicity, we would define our different type of molecules. As I have already told you, that here are 2 atoms of oxygen which are combining to make a molecule. Same as well, here are 3 atoms of oxygen which are combining to make a new molecule, that is O3. Okay, so let's show me some more examples. For example, we have argon. This is known to helium. These are known to be monoatomic. Okay, just give me a second, please. Molecules on the basis of atomicity has 5 different types. The first type is known to be monoatomic. The second one is known to be diatomic. Then there is triatomic, tetraatomic, and at the last one is polyatomic. Okay, now I'm just going to explain each term to you. The monoatomic, as the name suggests, it contains only one atom. Or I would like to say atomicity of these molecules is equal to 1. For example, argon. For example, helium. That is Ar and He. Bache, I hope you have remembered whenever I started this topic, I told you that atoms are so reactive that they cannot be stable for a long period of time. They would easily get attached to another atom and would make molecule. So the bonding, the attachment of atom depends upon their reactivity as well as their stability. Okay, so I would like to say in this term that what is this? Argon and helium, these are so much less reactive that they can easily exist in the form of monoatomic molecule. The argon and helium, these are gases known to be noble gases, about which you will definitely see in your higher classes and in the same class also, but in the higher chapters. So these are known to be monoatomic, and the reason behind this is their reactivity. All right, bache, as I've taken the example of monoatomic, same as it is, di means 2 atoms. For example, O2. For example, Cl2. That is oxygen and chlorine. Same as it is, tri represents 3 atoms. For example, ozone, O3. For example, Al3, aluminium. Now, the tetraatomic represents 4 atoms. That is P4. And same as well as polyatomic means which have more atoms, which have a greater number more than 4. For example, S8, it contains 8 sulfur atoms and many more. Quite obviously, polyatomic molecules are very rare because so much number of atoms would combine in that. So in short, I just wanted to define you, molecules can be differentiated on the basis of atomicity. Either it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and many more, we can define the different type of molecules. Okay, so this was all I wanted to say you about molecules and atoms. We have studied. About the further topic, we would see in our next class. So this was all. If you want to have any kind of doubt or query, please let me know. Yes, students, just raise your hand if there is any kind of doubt or query.